Oh man, this is a big. Oh guys, I've seen a little bit about this and it's been interesting. There's some stuff I haven't seen that we're gonna discover together here, but when I saw this, I was like, what is going on? The right is obsessed with Lord of the Rings, but they don't understand it. The bizarre conservative misunderstanding of Lord of the Rings explained. Dude, I had to pull up the article. I skimmed the article a little bit, and among many humiliations of America in the current moment, member of the tech right and the conservative ruling class continue to fetishize objects of nerd culture, while also displaying a willful inability to grasp the very basic message. Okay, so what's the message and what are they upset about? So, most recently, Elon Musk posted to his platform X, that Tolkien's peaceful hobbits were able to live idyllic lives on the Shire only because they were protected by the hard man of Gondor. That sounds about right. I'm sorry, if orcs had rolled up to the Shire, the hobbits would have been kind of screwed. I mean, Gondor men laid down their lives to protect the west of Middle Earth. Referring to the human kingdom entrenched in battle against Mordor, England, Musk declared must also ally with hard men. Yeah. Haven't you heard the quote that, like, strong men win wars, strong men make peace, and then peaceful times make weak men, and then weak men make wars, and wars make strong men? That quote, has anyone ever heard that before? In this case, the far-right anti-Islamic activist Tommy Robinson, to restore its own peace and tranquility, Robinson is currently on trial in UK accused of refusing to comply with the counterterrorism police. Oh boy. And says Musk is paying his legal bills. Oh boy. Okay, so there's a political matter involved in this. Let's see how far it goes. Following Musk's lead, the Department of Homeland Security posted an ICE recruitment ad using a screen grab of Mary, played by Dominic Monaghan, one of the hobbits in Peter Jackson's Lord. Okay, yeah, we know that. Superimposed over the image in line Mary's dialogue, there won't be a Shire, Pippin. And then below the URL, join ICE. There it is, guys. There it is. That is why they're upset. That is why this headline has happened right here, is because they are finally getting a taste of their own medicine. Oh my gosh. I've waited 10 years. 10 years we've put up with them imposing their DEI values. And now when conservative values are being imposed on them, they are not happy. That's what it feels like. This is what anyone that's unhappy with this is what it feels like. Now, let me preface this. I do not want Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 4, Season 5 to now have a Trump in it. I don't want Trump to be in Lord of the Rings. I don't want Elon Musk to be in Lord of the Rings. I do not want conservative values to be imposed inside of my medium. I want Lord of the Rings. I want Tolkien's values to be imposed into it because that's what I fell in love with and that's what I want more of. When you impose any type of values in writing, it's just not going to be as good. It doesn't matter what you're imposing. It doesn't matter if you're imposing something good. It doesn't matter if you're imposing something bad. And I don't mean that politically. If you impose, hey, we should take care of your grandma and grandpas, it's just going to sound bad because you're imposing it. What you do is you write a character, you show them what they desire, you show them what they morally are struggling with, and then you watch them take that journey to learn how to take care, to grow into taking care of their grandma and grandpa, right? You have, like for example, if you have someone, if I take something from my personal life and I'm going to write about it, I'm going to write, I want to go take care of my grandparents, but as a kid they had high hopes for me and I feel like I have failed them, so I'm going to avoid seeing my grandparents until I can become this great and successful person, only to go meet my grandparents and then be like, oh, they just want me to be happy and they're happy with no matter what I'm doing in my life. That's a story. right? But imposing the value of go take care of your grandparents is not good enough. Same thing with imposing the value of go murder someone, right? We all love Dexter because I haven't even watched Dexter, so I'm just going off of the premise here. But people love Dexter because you understand why he wants to murder other murderers. He doesn't just say, "Oh, these people are bad, so I'm going to do it." Right? So, whenever you impose any type of values, you are hurting your writing more than anything else. And this is basically what Vox or this writer here is upset about, is that the Department of Homeland Security is imposing the values of Lord of the Rings in order to get people to join ICE and of that meter. So let's see how much further they take it. The idea here that naive hobbits represent the civilians of both the US and UK. Yep. They're talking about how you shouldn't. You're okay. They're being meant. Dexter is Batman who grew up with one parent. Oh, is that how Dexter works? There you go. That's what happens. That's what happens when you don't kill both of Batman's parents. He turns into a murderer. Next time, they need to finish the job. Next time, don't miss. However, you do not need to be a deep scholar of Lord of the Rings and Friends. I am not one to understand that this metaphor completely falls apart with a single step back. Okay, hold on. The only way to prevent the metaphor implies is that for the hobbits to ally with the Hardman of Gondor. And then he adds this. He says that they are in. He's calling the Hardman of Gondor. Okay, so, gosh. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. So he's getting mad, or she. I don't even know who wrote this. They are getting mad at. They're getting mad at Elon Musk for imposing values, but then in order to protect Tolkien, they impose their own values by calling the Hardman of Gondor Islamic phobes, agitators. And I know they're saying this is like, they're saying Musk is calling. Anyway, this is layers on layers on layers on layers. They're saying Musk is relating Gondor men to Islamic phobic agitators, Musk mass militia who attack unarmed forces, and DHS before their way of life is gone completely. Okay. However, you do not need to be a deep scholar of Lord of the Rings and Friends. I am not one to understand that this metaphor completely falls apart after one single step back. Okay, let's take one single step back and see what let's listen to what he has to say, everybody. In Tolkien's books, it is not the men of Gondor who turn back the forces of evil and save the Shire. So they just went off to war and died for no reason. It's those gentle, peaceful hobbits who pulled the whole thing off. Oh God. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. So what was the point of the men of Gondor going to war? They're the only species able to carry the one ring of the power because they are by nature unambitious. All they want is live their peaceful, rigorous lives of tea and toast and jam. I agree with this. Yeah, the hobbits' true desire is to just be at home. Therefore, it is hard. They are resistant to the ring corrupting them because all they truly desire is to be home. So they are able to withstand the temptations of the ring and its promise of power. Yeah, exactly. Ultimately, carrying it far enough to destroy it. The best the men of Gondor can do to help is refuse to ever touch the ring, which I think is a very humble thing, because they know if they pick it up, they will not be able to resist the temptation. To translate this into the metaphor, if you're taking Tolkien as your guide and you believe your homeland to be under invasion by the forces of evil, the solution is not to try to consolidate your power, harden your nature, and glory in needless cruelty. The solution is to refuse power whenever it is offered to you and fight from a place of humility. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the problem with what this has to say. While he is correct, or while they are correct in this statement, it is also stepping away from the premise of the original argument. They have now deflected the argument into something else, right? So basically what Elon Musk is saying, let's see what Elon Musk is saying. Let's just see what Elon Musk is saying first before I say what I'm going to say. Here, this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. Based on this article alone, what I'm going to say is when orcs attack your homeland, when you have people attacking your homeland, do not sit on your ass and let your women and children get slaughtered. Do not. You turn into Batman and you go and you fight back. You go and you fight back and you hold them off. Well, at the same time, that is just treating a symptom and not the actual disease. And how do you treat the disease? Well, this person actually answers it by cutting the head off the snake, by getting rid of Sauron. And how do you not get rid of Sauron without becoming Sauron? Well, you do this. You be humble, and you don't take on power for yourself, right? So what you do, Gondor man is more like Florida man. Do whatever it takes, man. Hey, sometimes Florida man take it too far. Sometimes Florida men are too crazy. Like before Aragorn was king and Boromir's father. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, they're a little bit too crazy, like Boromir's dad. But other times, Florida man, they can be pretty base. They can be pretty base. No, you what you do is you act from a place of humility. You act from, and then that keeps you from turning into Sauron. You defeat Sauron by being humble. And that's what the hobbits were supposed to do. Everyone needs to be humble like a hobbit, but they need to fight like a Gondorian man. So why even have the Gondors fight off the orcs in the first place? Why even put that in the story, right? Both these things are right. This author of this article is just upset that the conservatives are imposing Tolkien as an analogy. That's it. That is it. Let's see what Elon Musk has to say. Footage of Afghan attacking the public. So he is responding to this. Footage of Afghan attacking the public in Umbridge. I don't even know how to say that. Today, killing one man and injuring two others, including a 14-year-old boy. We under attack across the land from those who welcome in by the government and go good and do-gooders. When Tolkien wrote about the hobbits, he was referring to the gentle folk of the English shires, who don't realize the horrors that are taking place far away. True. I mean, the hobbits were very naive in the situation of what was going on in the world, but so was a lot of Middle Earth. They were able to live their lives in peace and tranquility, but only because they were protected by the Hard Man of Gondor. And this is the quote that was used in Vox, and I agree. The hobbits did not really take up arms. The hobbits didn't have to fight because someone else was fighting for them. What happened to the nice man who was brutally murdered while walking his dog will happen to all of England if the tide of illegal immigration is not turned. It is time for English to ally with the hard men like Tommy Robinson. Okay, so basically they're upset. He's upset with Elon Musk for using Tolkien, and he's trying to say, no, you can't use Tolkien. How dare you impose Tolkien's values onto the thing? They're both right. The second part of this is deflecting, though. It goes off topic, and it doesn't explain why the Man of Gondor actually fought. Yeah, both things are true. You need the Man of Gondor, and you need the peaceful. People should be allowed to live in peace like the hobbits. Both things are true. And in order to keep that peace, you have to be relatable to the hobbits, which is why Aragorn and everyone else bowed to the hobbits at the end of Return of the King, at one of the endings of Return of the King, one of the 50 endings. Because you must stay humble to those types of people. You must fight for those types of people. You must realize what you're doing it for those. That's what it is. Both statements are true. It's just that the argument goes off, and I've said that 3 times now, so we're going to move on. Hey, I'm Mario. I like playing video games, watching movies, and Dungeons and Dragons. If you keep getting me in your suggested videos, or you're watching this video right here, consider subscribing. It goes a long way. Thank you. I think the most important takeaway from this right here is that they're upset Why make this article? Because they're upset that they're imposing tokens values. They don't like it. That's it. But nobody's wrong in the statement. So their attempt to prove him wrong, he ended up just having to deflect and not actually addressing the actual problem whatsoever. And here's the thing. You don't have to like Elon Musk to agree with his point. You don't. And it's on there from there. But the issue that I have with things like this, with articles like this, is they're so upset about their values they don't agree with being imposed, but they don't realize that they've been imposing values onto us all the freaking time. Now, what's going on here? The words of a bitch, it was the men of the Shire who took up arms to fight for the Shire. It's just that hobbits were not big, strong creatures, so utilizing their other strengths. It was not about refusing power. It was about denying evil. There is no effeminate woke interpretation to be had here. In fact, it's all about calling it evil and telling it to fuck off. Yes, I agree. You're going to tell me hobbits didn't do anything to fight back when Sam had to go and say, if I can't carry the ring, I'll carry you. And Sam goes running up a tower, slaying orcs and goblins by his lonesome self. It's like they ignore everything else because they only took one step back to tell their point. It's ridiculous. To translate this into the metaphor, hold on, right here. Putting us on Mars is a good thing. The rest is pretty much trash. And there you go. And I like that. I like that you can do that. You know, it's if you have something that you like about Elon and you're able to say the different points that you like and you don't like everything else, that's good. That makes you more mature than people who just take sides. This whole tribalism of, oh, well, he's not on the same side as me, therefore I can't agree with anything he has to say, is why people were going out and keying Teslas, even though they were keying people who voted for the party that they agreed with. And whenever you do stuff like that, and you divide fan bases and you start to tell people, this is how we get rings of power. Because you're unable to take the things that you agree with because you think they have an idealism or a value you don't agree with. Because you're too worried to think for yourself and to think critically. This is how we get rings of power, and this is how we get people this is how you divide fan bases. This is what happens. To translate this into the metaphor, if you're taking Tolkien as your guide and you believe your homeland is under invasion by the force, they're quoting the person. For Stephen, the solution is not to try to consolidate your power, harden your nature, and no. And this is wrong. They're good for taking this quote. They're right for taking this quote because this person starts to deflect and ignores all the other points of when the hobbits did take up arms and fight. But the men of Gondor stood up for the hobbits. And it's for you to deny that is how you create divides, and it's how you make rings of power, and it's how you can't get... Why was it that Lord of the Rings fans for over 40 years were okay with each other? And then all of a sudden Rings of Power comes out, and now there's a split between Lord of the Ring fans. Why? How does that happen? Really ask yourself, why does that happen? It's because you have these people who would rather make enemies out of everyone, would rather make enemies out of people who are their friends than actually accept that there is a point to be made from someone who has a political disagreement within you, who aligns politically different than you. That's the issue. That is why things like Rings of Power get made.